There. It says we're live now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 177 of Retro Fandango. I'm Kevin, a.k.a. Buried on Mars, here with Rambox, a.k.a. Richard. Do the house cleaning, get this out of the way, because we were in the middle of washing dishes, and we need to get back to it. So Quick Save Club is playing mods this month. Possibly something else.
Can you give us a sneak peek of mods? Like, are you doing a one particular game? A whole bunch of them?
I don't know. It's like, I don't know. They're just going to talk about their favorite mods, like mods from Minecraft or Doom or Doom 2. You know, just their favorite mods. So they're playing some of their favorite mods, and they're going to talk about them. Possibly they'll be doing a show next month. I don't know. I haven't heard the word. Cartridge Club is playing Ninja Turtles. Any old Ninja Turtle game apparently goes. Anything.
There's a lot of them.
There is, and I've seen people playing like any old random game and getting a thumbs up. So anything flies as long as it's a Ninja Turtle game.
Mm-hmm.
And then next month they're playing Wind Waker, which I might hook up the Wii U again to play.
Isn't that a GameCube game?
Well, it got re-released on the Wii U. And once I played the Wii U version, I got rid of the GameCube version. Which I don't know if I should have, because now I have to keep my my Wii U if I want to play Wind Waker.
You know, I've looked back over my GameCube recently, my library, all 5 or 6 games up there.
Yeah.
I'm realizing, like, yeah, I think I could let them all go. The only holdout is the Beautiful Joe, even though I'm kind of convinced I may never play that game again. But I have more games on the PS2 that I kind of hang on to, so I could just pick it up on the PS2.
Yeah.
Totally eliminate the GameCube.
GameCube is red hot right now, too. I sold like maybe 13 games for it, and I almost got $2,000.
Yikes.
For 13. Yeah, it was ridiculous the amount of money that people spend on these games. I don't know what's wrong with you people, but whatever. I put it all in the bank account, and I said, "There you go, sir. Look at that. The investment already paid off." But I got rid of everything GameCube except for, what were the games I kept? I kept for the Metroid Prime games, the 2 Metroid Prime games, and Rogue Squadron.
But don't you have those on, like, didn't they re-release them in a fancier format?
It makes no sense for me to keep them. But I don't know. They're just part of the Metroid collection. They were more part of the Metroid collection than the GameCube collection, if that makes sense.
So you'd throw away the actual system and hang on to the games just to show them.
Yeah. And here's the thing with the GameCube. That Dolphin emulator is so well done. Like, they got that thing so well put. I was trying to play the old James Bond games because I'm on a James Bond kick for the Xbox. And my component cable, I got some cheap component cable for it, and it broke. So the only way, next best quality I can go down to is S video. So I was trying to play on the original GameCube, or original Xbox, those James Bond games with S video, and it was not good times. So I tried to. None of those games are backwards compatible, right? They're not backwards compatible with the Xbox One or anything because they were licensed to Activision, EA, and then at some point Activision took over the James Bond license, so there's no going back. Like, it's just one of those licensed property that the games are done. So I tried to emulate them with some Xbox emulators, whatever, and none of them worked very well. And I'm like, oh, it's ridiculous. Why do I have the jonesing to play these games and that they're so old? But whatever. I really wanted to play them. So I was trying to, I was actually considering modding the Xbox 360 because apparently you can mod an Xbox 360 so it'll open up more of the original Xbox library. The only reason the Microsoft doesn't give the okay for some games, it's not that they don't work on the Xbox 360 emulator, because all those games work through an emulator, right? The official ones that you can play on the Xbox 360, it uses an emulator to play them. And the only reason why Microsoft doesn't give them the okay is that they haven't been tested, and they don't have the okay from the license holder, right? Okay. So it's not like as if those old James Bond games won't work on your Xbox 360. It's just that they
need permission.
They need permission and a test. Like they have some sort of standard that they want them to be tested. So I was looking into modding the 360, and then I'm like, man, I'm dumb. Those games came out on every system. I don't have to emulate the Xbox versions. I could just emulate the GameCube versions. So I went and downloaded all of them for the GameCube on Dolphin, and they work great. Works fine. I played through the original Agent Under Fire, and then I played through most of Nightfire. I still got ways to go on that, but it's good times.
I have fuzzy memories. I don't think I've played. I only played a demo of one of them, and it's one where you actually have Pierce Brosnan's face.
Yeah.
And he did this like motorcycle dive under a truck or something.
I don't remember that. So here's Agent. This is Agent. It's kind of funny. They kind of went up in licensing status. Like every release got a little better with the licensing. So this is the first one, Agent Under Fire.
And there's no face. Yeah.
No face. They could not get Pierce Brosnan, who was the James Bond at the time, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just some generic James Bond. They don't actually have a photo of him on here, but if you can look it up online, and he looks like an amalgamation of all the different James Bonds. Like he's got like Sean Connery's eyebrows and, Roger Moore's like mouth, and it just looks like a weird mashup of all their faces.
So then the next,
what's that?
Frankenbond.
Yeah. So then the next one was Nightfire, which you could see Pierce Brosnan on the cover for Nightfire, but I think it was just a generic girl. But they didn't get his voice. They couldn't get him to do the voice. So they actually have James Bond, and they have Dame Judi Dench playing M, but it's someone else doing the characters' voices. And they didn't get a person that sounds a thing like Pierce Brosnan. He's just some British guy with like a slightly deep voice. It's a little awkward. So then the next one was Everything or Nothing, and that has Pierce Brosnan's face and his voice in it. And they got, I think, what's her face? Shannon Elizabeth. So she was never officially a Bond girl, but she was like a Bond girl in this James Bond game.
So those are like original. It's not based off the movie. It's like an original game.
Yep, it's all original.
Story.
Yep, yeah. Even though like the story in Nightfire, that's when I'm kind of halfway through, and it follows Moonraker quite a bit, where it's like a guy building a space station to create his own, master race, and he's going to wipe out the Earth. So you got to stop him. It's almost the exact same story as Moonraker. And then they came out with one more game on the Xbox, and this was the From Russia with Love, with Sean Connery's likeness and his voice.
Oh, he did do the voice for that?
I'm pretty sure he did the voice.
Or did they just take sound clips?
Let me see here. I learned a new trick with my glasses, by the way. Instead of like looking over like this, like an old man, if I just push them down on my nose a bit, I can read.
You look like the old librarian.
Yeah. So yeah, they got Sean Connery. They got I don't know who that is. Daniel Bianch. Robert Shaw is in it from Jaws. And Bernard Lee is M. That's got to be clips, unless it's just a likeness, because Bernard Lee died in 1981. Anyways, pretty cool.
That's neat.
Yeah. So this one they went really wild with the licensing, because there's that was Legends. Sorry, Legends was the next one. That one, they went and got like Jaws in the game, and his wife and all that stuff. It was crazy. It's good.
I am excited to see people talk about that 6th gen, because that's the I got so many memories of working in the game department when all that stuff was out. So
Is
even though I've
that what
never
this
played,
is this a 6th gen?
that's like Xbox, PS2, GameCube. That's sixth
Okay.
generation gaming. That's my knowledge
Right.
of video games. There's so many games that I never played, but I know the covers really, really well.
Yeah.
I'm just constantly
Working in
loading them on
retail.
shelf.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty cool. The first one, it's just a standard shooter kind of thing, but they give you like the James Bond gadgets and stuff. His watch can got this hook. I can just latch on to certain things and zip you up to different points, and it's got a laser so you can cut through locks. And
wouldn't that hurt your wrist?
Yeah,
swinging from a watch.
None of it's realistic. I mean, come on, it's James Bond.
It seemed to hurt Molly at the end of Die Hard when she
that was not good.
Hans is hanging off that wrist.
Before we move on, let's get to finish up the plugs here. RF Gen is playing Eternal Eyes, which is some old PS1 game. All right, what do you want to talk about?
I don't know.
Yeah, I wanted to wrap up the dishes conversation that before.
Oh,
right.
How could I forget?
So I said I do half of my dishes. Well, not half. I would say about 85% of the dishes go in the dishwasher, and then there's that 15% that you have to wash by hand. And I wash all the cutting boards by hand. I wash my coffee mug by hand. And the coffee.
That was going to be my question about the coffee mugs. Are you the kind of person that will finish a cup of coffee or tea, leave that cup somewhere, and then come back to it later, and it's got that dried little ring in the middle? Or do you quickly get it to the sink, rinse it out, so that doesn't build up?
If I'm home, it's 1 cup in the morning with the coffee, right? I just refill the 1 cup, right? Whether it's got a brown ring in it or not, I don't know. I don't even care. Whatever.
You just fill it up.
Just fill it up. Doesn't bother me.
Don't look, just fill.
That's right. Same thing with tea. If I'm having tea at lunch, it's just the 1 cup. If there's some brown in it, so be it. It usually doesn't sit there that long, because we'll make a pot of tea for both Sarah and myself. It doesn't really sit there that long. And then throughout the day, if it's just 1 cup of tea or whatever, it goes in the dishwasher later. I use it once, then it goes in the dishwasher. But by mug, I meant like my work mug. Like the work mug, it's like a Contigo.
Oh, like a thermos.
Right. It's got like a metal bottom and then like a top on it. That's got to go in the sink. You can't wash it in the dishwasher.
Is it the kind that has the little, you screw off the top and it's got the little sippy cup? You got your G.I. Joe on the thermos or something?
I do have a big one that's like that. Yes. But I don't like drinking out of it because it's really old. It's like about, I don't know, 30 years old. And I don't like putting my teeth next against the plastic because I don't want to ruin the plastic because it looks really nice. It's a nice looking mug.
I thought you were going to say you don't want to ruin your teeth or something.
No, I don't care about that.
Got to preserve.
I don't want to ruin. Yeah, I don't want to ruin because I'll tend to chew on things or whatever, especially if I'm at work and I can't sit still, right? So
there's Kevin gnawing on his mug again.
Yeah. So I don't want to ruin that thing. So I leave it nice, and I never use the mug part. I'll just grab like a china mug for the coffee. So I just pour it in, or a paper cup one if I forget. Anyways. That needs to be hand washed, and then the coffee pot itself, like the coffee pot, and that. If Sarah does a percolated coffee on the weekend, that all gets washed by hand, and then during the week, the drip coffee maker stuff is all washed by hand.
Everything in my house is washed by hand,
and then whatever doesn't fit in the dishwasher goes into the sink, like any sort of leftover or whatever. No dishwasher for you?
I've never had a dishwasher. As far as I can tell, they don't really exist here in the way that you know them, of the big machine. Dishwashers I see are little countertop things. You put it on your countertop and you can fit maybe I don't know, 2 or 3 people's worth of dishes in there, and it has a little sprinkler.
What's the point of that?
It wets them. I don't know. I wouldn't trust it. So everything just gets scrubbed by hand.
Well, dishwasher's handy, man. That is no.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
I've never had the pleasure.
Especially, like, I can't stand doing forks and knives. That is just a little too tedious for me.
You can forget it. I just learned to zone out. I do the dishes every single day. And, if I don't get to them early, because, I try to stay on top. We eat breakfast. I take care of the breakfast dishes. Lunch, take care of the lunch dishes. But some days you just can't do that. And everything is left until the end of the day. And as much as I try to fight it, Japanese style for meals is lots of little plates. There's no like one big plate, just throw everything on it. It's all presentation.
Right.
Flavors cannot mix. You gotta I got so many little plates. And at the end of the night, I'll be standing there for an hour, maybe more, just scrubbing dishes if I don't get to them.
Yeah.
That's when the headphones go on, something bland on the TV or something background, and just stand there and scrub.
Yeah, that sucks. You need a dishwasher if you got all those little plates.
Yeah.
Now when we did our kitchen a few years ago, we upgraded our dishwasher. We had a crappy one from whom, like, the people who had the house for us, it was theirs. It was the only appliance that they left. And it was never very good, never cleaned very well. So the one we got now is fantastic. You can fit a ton of stuff in there. It's got like the little nets and everything. So if you got like little brushes or whatever, like for the barbecue, you can throw them in there. Anything that could like throw, like, that the dishwasher will throw around or whatever. It's got little cages for them. It's really cool. And you got even like this thing that comes down. If you got wine glasses, you put the wine glasses in there and it'll hold it by the stem. Mm-hmm. It's only ever held one wine glass because Sarah will have a glass of wine once in a while, and that's it. But
how many dishes can you guys go through in one day, though?
We go through a lot. If we're cooking on the weekend, we go through. We've had friends, and they'll like, oh yeah, I turn on my dishwasher like 3 times a week. We've done 3 times in a day, easily, because you get up and like, oh, I forgot to turn on the dishwasher last night, so turn on, it goes through one cycle, and then if Sarah's making something like pasta sauce or whatever. Just making the stuff will be a cycle, and then you eat, and that'll be like the 3rd cycle right there.
Yeah, I believe it. I don't know if I mentioned this, but a few weeks ago I made pierogi for the first time.
Oh, nice!
And I was just getting so tired of not being able to have them, and then I finally looked it up, and it's apparently really easy to make them.
They're just because there's so many of them. You got to make so many of them.
It's time consuming. And it's messy on the counter. You got all the flour and everything. And
so you made them from scratch?
Yeah, I went on a YouTube pierogi recipe. First thing that came up was the Polish chef. An old Polish guy that shows you how to make pierogi, and it was great. I was very skeptical. Like, is this really going to taste the way I remember it? And the flavor-wise, I needed to change it around a little bit. But the texture was like, that's it. That's pierogi. So I recently got in my head, I want to try making ravioli. Because that's another food that I can't find around here. So
yeah,
this weekend might be ravioli weekend.
Oh, nice. Oh man, I don't know what happened to it, but my grandmother, my nonna, had a pasta maker, and it could do ravioli. Like, nice. It was like, yeah, you put it like your slab of pasta or whatever dough in the thing, and you put the meat in, and it would fold over.
Oh wow! I crimped them and fold them and everything.
Yeah. And then she had like an actual pasta maker too, like that would make like string pasta, and she would make all sorts of things with that. I don't know what
Yeah.
happened to it. One of my cousins must have got it. And
Is it one of those like old metal, like you're cranking
Yep.
on it, and it's
Yep.
just like suddenly pasta starts shooting out the other end?
Yep. Yeah. Oh man, and she made so much stuff out of that.
That is great. If
I don't know
I
who got
could
it.
upgrade one area of my house, it'd be the kitchen, because I don't know, I love cooking. You know, it's a hassle when you don't have the time and you're kind of in a rush. But when I cook, I like to cook things that take 2, 3, 4 hours to make. You know, I'm not good at the like, I'll just get this done. I like the long recipes.
I like doing the long recipes on the weekend, but during the week it's like you gotta go
Just get it done.
get it done.
Food
There's
and
not enough
stomach.
time. There's
Gotta
not enough
kill the
time.
pain in the gut.
But on the weekend though, we do like we'll make stuff. But I haven't made pierogies from scratch in years. I bought some at Christmas time. I don't know if I told you that. I don't know if
I don't remember hearing about pierogi.
So I really wanted some pierogies for my birthday, and we were going out for one of our walks, and we passed by a butcher in downtown, and they had like a sign right in there that said, "Hey, we got I can't remember, it was like Farmer Jack's or something, pierogies, world famous pierogies." I'm like, oh man, you want to get something for my birthday? That's it, pierogies. I don't care about anything else. Sell all these video games. Get me some friggin' pierogies. So we didn't. Sarah didn't end up going there. She went to another place and got some pierogies, but they were really expensive. Like, I don't know, it was like $10 for like a package of 6 of them or something like that. It wasn't cheap, but it was my birthday. She's like, "It's your birthday, so I got you these ones." So I'm like, okay, and they were good. They were very close to what my Nona would make, but close, not quite, not quite, because they were still frozen, you know. But they were pretty good. And then I was like, we got to go for round 2 for Christmas, because you know those ones were not quite there. Let's see, because I tried to get Sarah to make them from scratch, like and she just won't go for it. She'd rather we buy them. So I said, we got to go for round 2, because those ones weren't quite as good. So we went to the one downtown. We actually had to line up to get in there, because we only allowed so many people into the butcher, right? Because of COVID restrictions and that. So we had to wait in line to get in there. And once we get in there, we look around the entire place. It's not that big of a place, but we couldn't find them. Like, where are they? And they were buried. Like, they had a sign out for the front, and they were buried in the back of this freezer. So I'm like, okay. So I look in there, and I'm pulling out like all these weird flavors. Like, I don't know, not like potato and cheese. That's the
potato and cheese is the classic,
right? My Nona would make all sorts of different kinds, right? But the potato and cheese one, that's one that I was craving. That's one I wanted. So I pull out like a couple of these flavors. I'm like, okay, like I can't remember what it was all like. They put like bacon in it. I don't want bacon in there. I just don't want it. I just want, like, I'm simple flavors. You know, I don't like combining too many flavors. So I grabbed a couple, and they're like, "Did you find everything you wanted?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just wanted these in potato and cheese though." Like, "Oh, we got that." And she goes back. She went like far back in there. And not only did she pull out potato and cheese ones, but she pulled out sauerkraut ones, which were another one that my Nona would make back in the day. And I haven't had those in like 20 years or whatever. I'm like, sign me up. So I got those, and you know, they were lesser than, further removed from what my Nona would make. They were pretty good, but they weren't as good.
But
and the reason why my Nona would,
I don't want to spoil it for you, but you're never gonna find your Nona's pierogi.
No, but I have the recipe, and I have made them before, where they're good. They're pretty good. You know, so I do have the recipe, but I have to have the people around me that are interested in actually wanting to do them. Like, I was hoping like my brother-in-law would be into it, but he's like, "Joe, like, that's too much dough and potato and cheese. You got to have your protein and all that." Oh, okay. Forget that. I mean, that's not going to go down that. And then my mom is like, she can't have, what's that? gluten. Everything's got to be gluten free. So no one's into it as much as I am. So I need a pierogi buddy.
Let me know. I'll fly out for pierogi.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I have. I do still want to make them though, but they were pretty good.
I tell you, it's a fun time. Like you just set yourself a couple hours for making pierogi or cooking anything in general, and you cook some good food. Forget about all this health conscious protein, whatever that. You cook yourself some good food, and you enjoy it.
And here comes Bill. He's late, and he said he'll eat some pierogies. Yeah, he'll eat them. You got to help me make them. That's the thing. Anybody can eat the pierogies. It's the making of the pierogies. That's the thing.
Did anybody ever read The Little Red Hen when they grew up?
No.
The little red hen, she wants some bread. So she says, okay, I got to go plant the wheat. Who's going to help me? And there's a dog and a cat and a rat. And they're like, no, we're too busy. And then it's time to harvest the wheat. Nobody will help her. It's time to ground it into flour. Nobody will help her. Time to make the bread. Nobody will help her. Oh, time to eat the bread. Oh, yeah, everybody comes running. And she says, no, I'm going to eat it all by myself. And she does. And they're all miserable.
Wow, what a great story for kids.
All those old fables, yeah. You don't help, you don't benefit.
Well, there you go.
Teach them proper.
Right on.
So yeah, I'll give if I end up making ravioli, I'll let you know.
Yeah, give us the update. That's ravioli is another thing that I haven't had in a long time. They don't. You can't even get it in the restaurants here. They'll have cheese ravioli, not meat ravioli.
Usually they offer. No, I guess
not here.
Yeah, I could see it because those were two standards, so I could see people having one or the other, but both are pretty popular, aren't they?
I don't know. I tried to get like some meat ravioli, and it seems it's always cheese. Every time you look on the menu, it's cheese ravioli. It's like their
Chef Boyardee.
It's like, well, we need a vegetarian dish, so let's take the meat and do cheese instead, and then we got a vegetarian dish.
Or it could just be cheaper.
Or
whatever cheese substitute they're putting in there.
Yeah, I mean, so many of these restaurants they're just grabbing frozen stuff. You know, just frozen.
It's the convenience of them putting it on a plate for you. That's what you're paying for.
Yep. And the ambiance and whatever. What about bamboo? Have you been eating bamboo? I see that is on the list.
I've been pulling bamboo out of the ground. It's that time of year again. It's all starting to grow. So it's just a daily hike down the hill, dig up some bamboo, bring it back up, try to convince people to take it so it doesn't go to waste.
What do you do with bamboo?
Not much. You put it in your rice, and then you got bamboo rice, which is pretty good. You use it in a lot of stir fry, do some kind of a Chinese dish or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. And then I'm out of ideas, It's kind of all you can do.
Yeah.
So it's fine to have, one or two meals, and you're like, hey, this is great. Haven't had bamboo in a while. But day after day after day. So most of it's really just going to be recycled. Pull it up so it doesn't grow into a tree, and then smash it back into the ground.
Yeah. Oh. Sorry to hear that.
Exercise, burn off my pierogi calories.
Yeah, you don't have to shovel driveways, so there you go.
No, that's a fair trade-off. Oh, right. Well, I figured after 2 weeks I'd have a whole lot to talk about, but
yeah, that's all right. It's okay.
I had the notion of, well, then I can pay attention for 2 weeks and jot down all this stuff I do, and we'll have so much to talk about. Or I could just ignore it for a week and then just write it down as usual. I ended up ignoring everything for like 2 weeks.
That sounds about right.
Doing the living of life instead. my kids are out of school. The school year here just finished, so they're home now. I'm still on vacation from my job until the school year starts up again. So it's just quiet hanging around the house.
Yeah, well, nothing's changed here. Zero's changed. Just got warmer. That's all. All the snow's gone. I think last time we talked, there was snow on the ground. Now it's all gone.
Yeah, it's definitely like spring is in full effect here. Flowers are growing, plants. I got to cut the grass and everything.
Hey, Rocket Sauce is here too. Everybody's sorry that they're late. Don't worry about it. We went an hour later. It's an hour later and everyone's late. What's up with that? Everyone adjusting to the new time.
What's up with that?
Well, I just want to talk about some video games for a little bit, even though we did talk about the James Bond games to start. But I don't know if you remember me telling you I got Game Pass for 3 months for $1. Did I tell you that?
Sounds familiar, yes.
Yeah. They had some promotion. I don't know what it was, but it's like 3 months, $1. I'm like, sure, why not? So I'm like on Game Pass and I'm trying to play all these games. I'm trying to play Control, can't get into that one. Tried to play the RPG Greedfall, couldn't get into that one. I don't know. I was trying out a bunch of different ones. That new Doom, couldn't get into that one. So I'm gonna do I feel the pressure now to spend some time because I spent $1 with this stuff. I gotta get my dollar's worth. And even though I have the games on Steam, I saw that they had, they got Day of the Tentacle on there, and I'm like, man, I've been wanting to play that for so long. Yes, Rocket Sauce says Control was boring. I gotta agree. I mean, I only played the first level, and I was kind of like, man, just get on with it. Like they're doing so much explaining and story, and just get on with it. Anyways, I had Day with the Tentacle on there. And even though I already have it on Steam, I said, what the heck? I'll play it on Game Pass. Why not? And this is the first time I played the new edition, the remastered. And it was funny how I was surprised how it was all coming back to me. And I forgot how good that game is. So you play as three characters, and you mess around with some time machine, and it sends one guy into the future, or the girl into the future, the fat guy into the past, and you're the nerdy guy, and you're stuck in the present. And there's all these time mechanics with the puzzles, which is. It's funny how it's all coming back to me. She comes up in the future and she's stuck in a tree. So then you have to go into the past and paint a tree. I think it's an orange tree, and you got to paint it red so it looks like a cherry tree, and then go talk to George Washington so he'll go and chop it down. So then in the future she could be on the ground. Just fun stuff like that. And I remember the hamster too. And it was funny, the hamster. So there's a hamster, and you have to...
Wait. Don't spoil it, because I want to go back to this game. And I do remember a fair amount, but I remember the George Washington bit, but I didn't remember that about painting the tree. So there must be some things I'm not
I thought you played it recently, not too long.
No, this is one that I've still... I had it for years now, but I still haven't gotten to it.
Well, there was something how can I... So inside the game, I didn't know this, but inside Day of the Tentacle is Maniac Mansion.
Yeah,
you find a computer, and you can go back and play Maniac Mansion, which I thought was cool. And there was, I think I remember doing when we were kids. I don't think this is a spoiler. I got to talk about this part. So when we were kids, we would ask everybody hey, so you got played Maniac Mansion, did you put the hamster in the microwave?
Mm-hmm.
And so that was one of the things, no, I never did that. So then you go home and you try and you put the hamster in the microwave and turn on and blow up the hamster. And then there's a puzzle with the hamster in Day of the Tentacle that was tripping me up, because I was mixing up what you did in that game with Day of the Tentacle with the hamster. Anyways, I can't go into it now because I don't want to spoil it for you. But anyways, there's hamster in both games, and it's kind of fun. That's all.
Have you ever played through Maniac Mansion in its entirety?
I did as a kid, but not recently. Like I can't. Like I remember going into the you go into the I played a little bit of it this time. Like you go into you find the key underneath the mat, you get into the house, and you run into you can pick different characters in that. You run into the woman in the kitchen, she'll throw you into the dungeon, so then you gotta play as another kid. Yeah. Like you basically to get the woman out of the kitchen, you gotta go and sacrifice one kid to get thrown into the dungeon, so you can now go and explore the kitchen kind of thing. Yeah, I played the game.
Yeah, I've never been able to make much progress in it because just like that, I end up getting everybody tossed in the dungeon, or I hit some dead end where I forget, like the characters get killed and it's like off screen, like it's just game over if you get caught or something. I don't know. I have never been able to make much progress in that game.
Yeah. Well, to get the hamster, you got to time it. You got to like ring the doorbell so the guy comes out of the room.
There's something about like a package he's waiting for.
He's waiting for a package, right? Yeah. So you ring the doorbell. So you get one person in and you can hide them in a room, and then you send another kid up to ring the doorbell, and then he comes down looking for his package. And while he's down looking for his package, you can sneak into his room and get the hamster. And then you can put the hamster in the microwave. I know that part better than I know, like beating the game itself. I don't know. I haven't done in forever. I can't remember.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the hamster in the microwave results in a dead end immediately, doesn't it? Or does it just get that one kid thrown in the dungeon?
No, you can still play it, but I think, don't you need the hamster for the...
Well, that's the thing. Like you can do that, but you kind of have to start the game over.
Right, yeah.
It's more just like, hey, look at that neat little detail they threw in there.
Yeah. And that's like old school point and click adventure where you take a thing that's like the only way to finish the game is if you have this thing, and it doesn't tell you that it's game over because you just got rid of the thing that you need.
And then you got to start the whole thing over.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I found, like, I was always kind of iffy on that in those games where you could kind of screw yourself over and get rid of an item that you really need. That happened to me in another game, and like I used an item, and then you keep playing, and then later on you realize, well, I can't solve this puzzle. What is it? You look it up, and it's like, oh, that thing that you used already was necessary for this.
That's old school adventure games, man. That wouldn't fly today.
No.
That's for sure.
You'd have all the other characters screaming at you what item to use as soon as you walk into the room.
And that's it for video games. That's all. I played a little bit of the old James Bond, and which was a very short game. That first one was very short. It's only about 3 or 4 hours. And then the Day of the Tentacle wasn't that long either. So I'm getting more into the short games. I think the long games just kind of, I don't know, just not hitting some good ones too. So.
Well, it's one of those things. You get a little completion. You feel that, oh, I did it. Check. You know?
But and also just like I've been sat here for 60 hours, played this one game. I don't know. I'm not in the mood for it right now.
Yeah.
But what I am in the mood for, what I have been in the mood for, well, let me talk about the television a little bit. I watched the WandaVision. I finished that off.
Your favorite show to hate.
And overall, the series overall, from beginning to end, was okay. It was okay. The beginning was terrible. I thought that was poorly executed. I don't know what they were thinking with that whole thing. That was pretty sad. But when they finally got to more of the mystery and everything and started filling in on what's happening in that, it got much better towards the end. It wasn't like, oh my God, this is so great. It's the best thing ever. And every actor that's on the show is amazing and brilliant. I thought it was just okay. Like, the thing, I think they could, if they would have done the beginning a little better, like got you up to speed a little faster, they might have had to cut out like 2 or 3 of those early episodes, but that would have been fine. I think they were just wasting your time at the beginning. That's just me.
Just you gotta get with the times here and just embrace the new Marvel product.
Just blindly, like whatever it is. Yes, it says
It
Marvel
says
on it, so I have to love it, right?
Yes.
All right. And then I watched the first Winter Soldier and the Falcon. I didn't watch the second one yet that came out today. Watched the first one, and it was okay too. It was very, very hammy, but there was some stuff I liked. There's Duke.
Hey, Duke.
There's some stuff I liked in it and some stuff I didn't like in it. You know, it's one of those, like, you got the Falcon, and he's like, his ability is that he could fly. So the bad guys are doing things that it's just perfect for the Falcon to go in and fix, because
Do they
he
have
can fly.
open
And
skylights in their hideouts?
no, but they're flying around like he is. You know, it's like, oh man, it's a good thing they didn't decide to get away on a motorcycle or something where he would be less efficient with the trees in the way and all that. They decided to get away with the jets as well. But that's just comic book thing.
Look, I will defend that, in that comic books are supposed to be kind of silly.
Yeah.
It's just a fun adventure for children.
I think, like I said to my buddy Mike Ladano on Facebook, I like good ham. You know, I don't mind if they ham it up a bit, but it's got to be good ham. You know, it can't be a little too hammy. So I thought parts of the show were a little too hammy, but overall, it's okay. I want to see more. I'm not going to make a judgment on the entire series after one episode. Maybe 2 episodes I will, but after one, I'm still want to see more.
So does all this stuff, it still ties in with all the movies?
I think so. I mean, basically with WandaVision, you were watching a character who started off as one thing in the last movie, and by the end of this series, WandaVision series, that person becomes something else. They have like they start off as a caterpillar and they end up as a butterfly at the end of the series. So when that character probably will show up in one of the movies, you'll understand why. And you probably don't need to watch the series. They'll probably like fill you in, like, hey, this is, I'm this character now. And they're probably like, oh, okay, you were that character, but now you're this character. And that's probably all you need to know. But watching the WandaVision series, you got all the backstory.
Right. Yeah.
That's how I imagine.
Side comic.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how I imagine it'll go all together. So you can probably watch it if you want. If you don't, you probably don't have to. And I imagine it's the same with this Winter Soldier and the Falcon thing. There.
Okay.
And then Sarah and I have been watching all the Oscar-nominated films. The nominations came out, and we started with Best Picture. Best in Show would have been a better movie to watch than some of these, for sure. But overall, what they chose for Best Picture is pretty good.
Isn't it kind of late? Don't they normally do Oscar stuff in February?
Yeah, the COVID thing pushed stuff back.
Oh, it makes sense.
I mean, I guess they were thinking like, oh, well, if we push it back, it'll give more time for more movies to get released, but never happened anyways.
What happened last year? Did they have a big award ceremony, or did they do a digital thing?
It was all right before the whole COVID thing started,
okay.
Right? Because it was back in February. So it was like one of the last things that they got out of the way.
So what are they doing this year?
Virtual.
Everything's virtual.
Yeah, I don't think they know 100% what they're doing, but that's what the other award shows have been doing, just like a virtual thing.
Can they make it like an hour? Just say, hey, here's the category, here's the winner. Next category, here's the winner. Do we need all these little skits and people walking out in tuxedos? Here's
my secret for watching the Oscars. In order to get through it really quickly, is I don't watch it and just wait till next day, and it's all announced in the morning. I don't care for the show. I do like the process of what they nominate, because then it puts stuff on your radar that you normally wouldn't watch. And I've watched a lot of good movies that way. A lot of crap that I've stopped and said this isn't for me. But I do find like that process. And then what actually wins is a total joke most of the time. But that process of what gets nominated, I do enjoy, because I do like having, like it's almost like a recommendation, like, hey, watch this, see what you think of this kind of thing. So I do like that. But the pageantry for the whole, like what wins and all that, I just don't care. Like normally what wins is what will make the money in the future, because the people who are voting on this stuff for the most part are people who will be invested in this person's next film. Like one of the movies that was nominated is this movie called Mank. And it's based on I guess the loose telling of the story of the guy who wrote Citizen Kane. And his name was Mankiewicz. Everyone called him Mank, so that's the name of the film. And everybody is in love with this movie. Like all the critics just think it's the greatest thing and all that, and got this nomination on it. And it's probably going to win Best Picture because it's one of those actor pieces. And I find that the Academy Awards kind of go in a cycle too. Well, one year it'll be like a story-driven thing. The next year it'll be a director's thing, and then they'll go back to the actor's thing. And I think they're ready to nominate an actor's piece. Like if you watch Birdman, that thing was the biggest piece of crap, but it was an actor's piece. You know, it was like you had to really act to be in that movie, you know, because it was like just the dialogue and everything was a little weird. And it's the same thing with this movie. It's an actor's piece. It doesn't have a very good story. It actually doesn't look good. I can't even look at it. It's all done in black and white, which is fine. But whatever they did with the cinematography, it's like a bland gray throughout the entire movie. It's not a sharp contrast between black and white. And I couldn't even look at it. So I couldn't look at it. I couldn't understand what people were saying because they put this like sound effect. The idea was that the guy wanted to make the movie. It's David Fincher who directed it, and he wanted to make the movie like you're in an old-time movie theater. So he even has like this echo effect in the movie, which was making my surround sound go all haywire because you're just hearing this stupid echo. So you couldn't even make out what they were saying half the time. And I couldn't even finish it. I thought it was terrible. But I have a feeling that movie will win Best Picture because I thought it was terrible. But I got through an hour of it. And Rocksauce did not like Birdman as well. I watched about 15 minutes of that thing. It was terrible.
It wasn't terrible. It's just probably not what you're into.
No, it was awful. It was an awful movie.
There
was no story.
There are movies that you could respect the filmmaking, but really just not be a fan of.
Absolutely. And like I said, I respect the acting in Birdman. I get it, but it's a terrible movie. It doesn't have a very good story. And if you don't have a story, you don't have a movie, as far as I'm concerned.
The story was the main guy just trying to come to terms with himself because he was known for being the Birdman, right?
Right.
He was known for being a superhero guy, and then he's trying to do like a regular.
Fantastic.
Just be a regular actor.
Wow. Fantastic. And here's the other thing.
What is Citizen Kane? That's a guy who's longing for his childhood. You can sum any movie up in one sentence.
Difference is execution. None of the characters in Birdman were likable. I did not care for a single one of them. I didn't care for their the whole thing where he's trying to do this acting thing on stage and all. Like I don't care. It was just awful.
That's it.
It's a bad movie. I'm sorry.
That's like I don't care about baseball. It doesn't mean baseball is bad.
No, I get that, but I mean, you got to have for a movie. I'm sorry, you have to have either a good story or some characters that are interesting in the good story. If you don't have that, it's a bad movie. Objectively speaking, it's a bad movie. That's not subjective. Now, it's subjectively, you could say, well, I like those characters and I like the story, sure. But but what was the story? Who were the characters? They were awful people. Their story was not interesting. That's a bad movie. Hands down. And then here's the other thing. For something like Mank, you have to be able to see and hear the movie. That's number one. Any movie that I can see and hear automatically gets 1 star for me. You get 1 full star because that's the basic thing. If I cannot see or hear the movie, that is not anything subjective. That is objectively bad. You automatically do not even get 1 star from me. I gotta hear and see the movie properly. And I didn't watch it, I didn't download it or anything like that. It's a Netflix movie, and I watched it on Netflix. The Kane from Citizen Kane? What? I like Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane has a good story, and I mean, I know there's plot holes in the story, but I like the characters in it. So, but the Mank stank. There's my 1-word review. Mink, stink.
That was the biggest shock when someone revealed to me that plot hole in Citizen Kane. Like the entire movie doesn't make sense.
Well, it doesn't.
It's like
it doesn't. I
it's
mean,
like, wow.
It, I mean, yeah, it doesn't. But whatever. Oh, I see.
Of course.
Of course. You got to always like, anytime Rocket Sauce says something, it's a Simpsons reference.
Yep. It's all he communicates in.
Okay, all the other movies that I saw that were nominated for Best Film, the only one I haven't seen is The Father, which I hear really good things about. But all the others were great. I really liked them. What were they? Sound of Metal was great. It's about this guy who he's in this indie rock band, and he's traveling in this Winnebago with his girlfriend. And, you know, they're playing all these rock shows, and they're playing like this really avant-garde metal thing. They have a really small, tiny following, but he's really intense and into his thing. And he starts losing his hearing.
No.
Good stuff. I started watching it, and at first I thought it was a mockumentary. That's how natural the movie felt. I thought like I was watching, like they were kind of just riffing into things and that. But no, it's an actual movie, and it was really good. The next one I watched was Judas and the Black Messiah. That's about the Black Panther in Chicago in the late 60s, early 70s, and this battle that they got in with the Chicago police. And, you know, growing up as a kid, you know, I always thought that the Black Panthers were, I don't know, like shady, you know, like they were nefarious. Like they were not as bad as the KKK, but there was something nasty about them. But, you know, that's how powerful, you know, like that the authorities can make things seem like. So they take it from the point of view of the Black Panther Party, and man, it's really well done, really good. It's about this this guy too that's well known in the Black community, but you know, I'm an ignorant white guy in Canada. I've never heard of him before, so that's why they made a movie like this, so more people can experience it. So that was good. Minari was a good one too. That's the one that I think you should watch, Richard. I think you might like this one. It's about this Korean family who tries to live the American dream. They move to Oklahoma, and the guy tries to start a farm. And most of the movie, I'd say like 85% of it is in Korean. And the grandma moves in, and it's just it's one of those really character-driven family stories. But in this movie, there's this kid in it, and we know how Richard hates his child actors, but I think this kid did a really good job. I wonder if Richard would take to this one.
You know who my favorite kid actor is? Do you ever see Annie? The old musical Annie?
A long time ago.
There's a musical sequence, The Hard Knock Life.
Yes.
And when that starts up, like these kids are like, they're like cleaning the house, they're scrubbing the hallways, and they're all miserable. And there's one little girl, she's scrubbing the wall, and the camera's panning down the hallway, and then she just drops her towel, kicks the wall, and then goes stomping down the stairs. That was a beautiful performance. She summed up her whole life in that one kick. I
think you'd like the kid in Minari. I think you would. I'm guessing. I'm banking that you would. What else was nominated? Not Moonraker.
Like Trial of the Chicago 7.
That one was good too. Another Chicago police up the shady stuff movie, but this one was about a demonstration or a protest that they had in a park in Chicago, and then the Chicago police went in there and started ruffling feathers, and it was when it was done, it was done under the Democratic Party when it happened, and they did an investigation, and they found out that the Chicago police instigated the riot. They instigated this riot, and then the Republican came in and said, oh, we're going to do another study. We didn't like that study, so they wanted to do another one, and then they just started arresting people who were in the riot, and that was good. It was a good movie. What else was there? Give me another one.
Nomadland.
Nomadland was good as well. That is Frances McDormand, and it's a bunch of YouTubers apparently in the movie who they're these people who live out of their vans. They've made the choice to get off the grid. They don't have any permanent address, and they just live out of their vans, and they eat out of their vans, and they poop in buckets and all that stuff. And apparently a lot of them have a following on YouTube. So people watch them just following their life as they live in vans. So it's about this woman who does the same thing, and really good. Frances McDormand was really good in it as well.
Promising Young Woman.
Okay, so that one sucked. So there is one more that was no good. Actually, it didn't suck. It was just kind of very contrived. It's about this woman who lures men. Like she pretends to be drunk at a bar, and she'll allow herself to be picked up by a guy. And then as the guy makes advances on her, she'll like snap out of her pretend drunkenness and either kill him, depending on how bad he was, or just embarrass him.
Is this a response to all the Harvey Weinsteins and?
I don't know. It was trying to make it's trying to make a point about rape culture and how, like a lot of rape culture is about protecting yourself as a woman, instead of why are we telling women that they have to go and protect themselves, instead of saying, hey guys, you really shouldn't rape women. Like that should be the message. And that's the message of the movie, and it just keeps going over and over and over again. And I could see a lot of people like the Quentin Tarantino people, I guess it's kind of their kind of thing, because it gets really graphic and gory at sometimes. So I don't know. I guess it's their kind of thing, but it wasn't really my kind of thing. Sarah liked it better than I did. What else was there? Is that it?
Minari, Trial of Chicago 7, Judas, Mank, Sound of Metal, The Father. I guess that's
The Father I haven't seen. That's it. Okay. Well, one more movie I want to talk about.
I haven't heard of most of these.
I hadn't either until they were nominated. Actually, Curtis was going through his screeners too at one point, and I wrote a bunch of them down. But yeah. One more movie.
He's privy to those sorts of things.
One more movie I do want to talk about. It's called Onward, and it is an animated film. It's a Pixar animated film, and it is fantastic. It's great. It is like, it's about these people who lived in this fantasy land, hundreds of years ago. They were go on quests, and there's dragons and imps and orcs and the whole bit. It's like a totally fantasy land. And then as technology progressed, they start to forget more and more about magic and where they come from, and that. So they're living in this advanced society, and they're forgetting about their roots. And it's about these two brothers, and their father dies, and on their 16th birthday, he gave him a gift before he died. Don't open it until your 16th birthday. So they open up this thing, and it's this magic spell where they can bring back their dad for a day. So the one kid who's really into the old magic and everything tries it, can't do it, but the other kid has the way, right? So he tries to bring back his dad, but he only brings back half of his dad. He screws up the spell halfway. So his dad is just these legs that are walking through the entire movie. But it's really well done. It's really good, man. And I don't want to say anything more. I probably said too much. It's
got a very nice sounding premise to it. Like they're being brave with this premise.
And it's fantastic. It's got Tom Holland, who's the new Spider-Man, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and Chris Pratt. And they do the voice acting for the characters. It's really good. It's one of those, Pixar films that, I watched Soul earlier. I can't remember if they did that one, but that one wasn't really that great. It was okay, but this one was really good, like really funny, and I was, and it felt like a video game, like an old RPG video game, as you're going through the quest to save your dad. And it's about, you know, people just losing their way with the technology and all that. It's good stuff. There you go. I talked enough.
Okay. Gosh, I don't know if I want to mention this stuff because I threw 2 movies in here that I'm guessing you're gonna hate, so I don't even know if I should bother talking about them.
I haven't heard of them.
Well, one of them can be found on the old Tubi Trash.
Right on.
Suspiria. And it's this old Italian horror film. And I didn't know anything about it. They have a little section there for their cult classics. And that's where I found some interesting things like Dolomite and stuff that I've enjoyed. So I figured, why not? Put it on, and I'm not into the slasher movies and the horror movies and stuff. So when it kind of showed like it's going to be that, I was like, all right, I'll see how far I get. Visually, it's a lot of fun. There's so much interesting choices in just how the story is told visually. In terms of a standard screenplay, it doesn't make any sense. There's a whole lot of stuff where characters just kind of come and go, and motives are unclear, and it's just a slasher movie in a German ballet studio, and it's all about the visuals. It's all about just interesting visuals, and the music too. The music I thought was really great. Very haunting. It has a definite theme that stays with you. A lot of graphic content. You'll kind of laugh as much as you cringe. But the story doesn't make any sense. And it's just all about wow, I just watched something weird.
So this is an old movie?
It's an old one, and I believe that they remade it. I don't know anything about the remake. Yeah.
So I'm just looking at, so they got both of them here. Suspiria.
I don't even know what that means.
Suspiria from 1977. Yep. Runtime 99 minutes. Suspiria from 2018. Runtime 152 minutes.
Get out of here.
That's what it says here. I'm like, we can't tell a story in an hour and a half anymore. We need the whole 3 hours. Let's go.
No.
My goodness.
I thought it was really interesting. I didn't expect to be involved in it. And, you know, you can pick it apart for all its faults because it definitely has them. But if you just focus on what they did right and interesting, there was some clever stuff there that I appreciated. The other movie I put on there is called A Ghost Story, and I imagine you will absolutely hate this one. It's an extremely slow movie. I knew this going into it. I heard about this, and I saw it pop up on Netflix. I was like, all right, let me give it a shot. The whole movie is told, it's shot in like a 4:3. It is extremely slow. It's about a guy who dies, and he wears a sheet, like a Charlie Brown ghost sheet, the entire movie, and it's just him looking at things and
I've seen the
looking
poster
around the house. Yeah, it's rough at some points because there are some scenes that go on so long, and it's just one unbroken shot of somebody standing there or doing a simple action, and you're like, all right, let's go, come on. End scene, go to the next thing. It has its purpose, and if you think about it in terms of the director had a particular thing he was going for. Like he wanted to tell it in this style for a reason, and you can see the validity of it. It's one of those movies that I can respect more than I can enjoy. It's like it's done well. It's definitely like an artsy fartsy kind of storytelling style. And there's a lot of really good things in there, some clever stuff, but there's also some vagueness, and there's a lot of it is you just feel bored at some points. But I got through the whole thing, and I was like, you know what? He wanted to do that, and he succeeded at doing that. So bravo. I don't know if I'll ever watch it again.
I see Casey Affleck's in it, so that's strike one for me.
Is that like a Ben Affleck brother? I saw the
Yep.
name.
Yep.
I didn't know he had an acting brother.
Oh, this is the guy who directed Dave Lowry. He directed The Old Man and the Gun, which is a movie that's not very good. It's Robert
Old
Redford.
Man and the Gun?
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
It's got Robert Redford and Casey Affleck again. It was all right, but it wasn't very good.
Casey Affleck. What else has he done other than these two movies?
Gone Baby Gone. I think that's his biggest movie. I think. All right, he's Ben Affleck's brother. That's.
He's under a sheet the whole movie, so you don't have to see him.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
But the other movie, and this ties in perfectly because you started talking about Jimmy Bond early on.
Yes.
I watched my very first James Bond movie.
You did?
I did. And I'll explain why after we play a game. We're going to play Name That Bond.
Okay.
Because I imagine you have seen most, if not all, of the James Bond movies.
Okay. I have seen all the James Bond movies at some point. Some of them I've only seen once. Mm-hmm. And with this rewatch that I've been doing for my blog, BarryDelmars.com, go check them out. I am up to For Your Eyes Only. So if it's anything after For Your Eyes Only, it's been a long time since I've watched any of them. So
okay. Well, we'll see.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you my review of the movie without getting into too many details of the plot, and we'll see if you can figure out
a lot of
which
era,
which Bond, if you even get the movie.
A lot of the plots are similar in James Bond, but we'll try.
Well, I imagine. Okay, so I can't compare this to any other James Bond movie, so I don't know how it is as a James Bond movie, but as a general movie, like an action adventure, a movie, it's pretty darn bad. It's pretty boring. It's got a terrible script. What else can I say? It's got a terrible script. The Bond, if I didn't know James Bond as the iconic character, that everyone knows 007, everyone knows this, he would just seem like a really boring dude, completely underdeveloped. There's no setup for who he is or why he does anything. It's just like the bare bones. He's a secret agent, blah blah blah. But he comes across as totally boring in this. The main love interest is also pretty bad. Bad actress, bad performance, bad script, very predictable. The worst thing about this script, and I will say before I say this, is that the film works best when it gets silly, but it doesn't really get silly enough. It just kind of gets boring. The worst thing about the script is that everybody communicates, whether it's the protagonist to antagonist, love interest to antagonist, anybody talking to anybody, they only talk in like zippy one-liners that they're constantly like imagine if the Human Torch did something and he'd say something, oh, too hot for you, that kind of stuff. It's like every line of dialogue is that. So far, your review could be copied and pasted on any James Bond film. Okay, I might have to get more specific. There's a terrible song that was written for the movie, like a James Bond song theme. And I believe it was one of the compromises was that the singer got a cameo in the movie. Because the singer is in there. Not a good acting job there. Okay, I guess I'll give you a time frame. The special effects / CGI effects are not great. I guess they were really not great for their time either. James Bond kind of bounces around from country to country very quickly without any you kind of lose yourself in like, where is he now? What's going on?
We're
Why is
still
he
very
here?
generic here.
Wow, I'm setting myself up for so many future James Bond movies. I imagine some of them are told better.
It depends on which, I still can't tell you which one you've seen. I mean, like it. Okay, so
okay, I'll give you something else. There's a character in the movie called Moneypenny.
She's in every one.
No, here's my point. There's a character called Moneypenny, and I know the name. I've heard the name, but I have no idea what her character is. And even watching this movie, I have no idea what her character is because she just shows up and he says, "Hey, Moneypenny." And then that scene is over. And then later on in the film, they shoehorn her into another scene where she's having some fantasy about James Bond. Because I guess that's her character. That's it. They made just like, oh, we didn't do anything with this character. Throw another scene in there. Like, they don't tell you anything about these characters. You just have to know them, I suppose, after years of watching this stuff.
Still very vague.
Still vague. Okay, it involves ice is kind of important.
Okay, you saw Die Another Day.
There you go. Look at you.
That is the worst James Bond film out of all of them.
It is.
You watched
really
the worst. That is awful.
It's worse than the Timothy Dalton ones. That's what I always hear, is that those are the worst.
Timothy Dalton ones is like Shakespeare in comparison to Die Another Day. Die Another Day, that was one, like I always say Batman and Robin is the movie that I almost walked out of the theater of, the only movie I almost walked out of. But Die Another Day, I almost walked. If it wasn't for my love for James Bond, I would have walked out of the theater on that one. I remember that stupid, what's her name? Her name is Minx in the movie. What the heck's her name?
Jinx. Halle Berry.
Jinx. Halle Berry. They were going on, before the movie came out, they were going on, hey, we're going to start a Jinx series. This character's so great. We got to get Jinx, her own road movie. And everyone saw the movie and like, what the hell are you talking about? This character's terrible.
It really felt like there are times where her character is supposed to be funny, and it really feels like she was just doing a Will Smith impression. The way she was delivering dialogue.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Yeah. It's not good. I'm not looking forward to revisiting that one. But yeah, it's not good. I've only seen it the one time in the theater. I've never seen it again. And yeah, that is the Pierce Brosnan ones are, from what I remember, the first one was good with GoldenEye. That's one with the video game tie-in and all that. And then it was very diminished returns until we got to Die Another Day.
Was that the last one? Was that his last one?
Yeah. Except for that video game. He did Everything or Nothing. I think this was his actual last appearance as James Bond was in this game. But
I kind of get the impression from Pierce Brosnan overall is that he's one of those actors that just doesn't care about anything other than getting his paycheck.
Yeah.
During his time as Bond, or maybe it was slightly after, I remember seeing a commercial here. You know, Hollywood actors will sometimes do commercials in other countries. He did some commercial for like coffee. And it was based on the whole James Bond thing. There were like guys jumping out of planes and all this spy stuff going on. And then the end shot of the commercial is just him standing there with a thing of coffee going, yeah, coffee. Get the coffee. And that's exactly the amount of effort he put into it. It looked like he just showed up, said that one line, collected his paycheck, and got back on his plane. It just, I don't know. I get that impression from him.
And Bill says the Dalton ones are fine. I thought the first one that Dalton did was pretty good. The second one was, from what I remember. I might change my opinion when I watch them again, but
so basically, I have nowhere to go but up.
Yes, yeah. You can even watch
the worst one out of the way.
You can even have more fun with Moonraker. That's how bad Die Another Day.
That one I'm looking forward to.
It's not very good.
I like the silly.
Okay, so
the silly aspect came across as the strongest element from this movie.
So with James Bond, the first two movies were, I mean, they're silly, like if you think about it, but they're still like within the realm of possibility. I mean, the second movie, he's mostly on a train. throughout the entire thing. It's almost like Midnight in the Orient Express, James Bond. But then when Goldfinger comes out, that's where the Guy Hamilton, who is the new director, comes in, and he interjects a lot of humor into it. And the thing with James Bond is that they go like, it starts off as like plausible, and then it just keeps getting more and more wacky as they go on. And then they decide, okay, we went a little too far. We got to take it back, And so that's what happened with Pierce Brosnan as well. Like the first movie was pretty good, and then they just keep getting wackier and wackier because they have to. I think they feel compelled to top the previous villain, which you don't really need to do. You just need to have a director that can do action.
Well, you got to have writers who are going to challenge themselves and say, hey, you know what? Make it smaller, but more interesting. Make it smaller, but more interesting.
Yeah. First half of Moonraker was pretty good, according to Bill. I don't know. There's elements of Moonraker that are really good. Like Moonraker has a really good James Bond girl. She's Lois. What's her name? Can't remember, but she was good. And it's got Jaws in it again, but they really get really cheesy with Jaws. But like the series also, like with when Sean Connery was it had like that silliness, and then with Roger Moore they actually kind of went like they kind of just made themselves a parody of the Sean Connery ones. Like it starts off serious again with Live and Let Die, and then Man with the Golden Gun. They're fairly serious James Bond films, and then they just, for The Spy Who Loved Me, they just went, they went for it, and they did. It was funny. It was a funny movie, but then Moonraker kind of goes off the rails. For Your Eyes Only comes out. They reboot the character again, bring him back down to earth. And that one was really good. I'm spoiling my, slow motion 0G acting. Thank you, 2001 Space Odyssey, because a lot of Moonraker takes place in space, and all the actors do to make it look like as if they're weightless is like they just move slowly. Let's go over here. And it's all slow-mo acting. So
it's like in-camera special effects.
Yeah. So if you want me to recommend, I could recommend two. I could recommend three for you right now. I could recommend Goldfinger for sure. That'll give you that's Sean Connery's best one. And then if you like the silly stuff, if you like funny stuff, it's almost like a parody of itself. It almost comes off like Austin Powers at times. But The Spy Who Loved Me was really good. It's got a really good villain in Jaws and that. And it's like a parody of itself, it's good. And then For Your Eyes Only was really good as well. That's where they bring back the character down to earth, and it's legit good. So I'd recommend those.
Okay, I'll see. The reason I watched it is because I went to the old thrift shop and they started marking down DVDs again. So I picked it up for $1. So that's the only reason I watched it. So I got myself a nice DVD case.
Hey, there you go. Yeah.
And I can put something else in there.
Yeah. Put like RoboCop in there or something.
This has, it's got a double disc. So,
oh, wow.
Sometimes those cases are hard to find.
You can watch the extras where they tell you that Jinx is such a great character and they're going to start their own series with her. I remember watching it. I'm like, man, Hollywood's just so full of it. Like they just say this stuff just to build hype to get you to go watch the movie, when none of it's true. There's no truth to it. They just throw it out there. It's just like somebody sitting there. Yeah, let's have female Ghostbusters. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's see what everybody else says.
There's another actress in here. I don't know how to say her name. Rosamund Pike, who I've seen in a lot of movies, and I never knew her name, but I was like, I'd see her like, oh, I've seen that face before. And apparently this was her first film debut. So her film debut. So
wow.
I learned that. I also got some gems here for $1. One is a true gem. I never had a copy of Spider-Man, the first
that's great.
one.
Yeah.
And I watched it again. And I used to think like, it's okay, it kind of gets things right, but it kind of misses the mark a little bit here and there. But then 2 comes out and nails it. But watching this again, it's pretty darn good.
I've always liked it. I saw it
a lot of
twice in the theater.
a lot of the hokey stuff that at first I thought maybe they went a little far, I'm totally cool with now. It's like, you know what? I like my superheroes a little silly.
Yeah.
I love when the Green Goblin has got Spider-Man on the roof and he just kind of like leans back on the there's like a skylight and he's just leaning there smacking him in the head and talking to him. It's great.
Yeah. I think Sam Raimi found the right tone for those first two films.
He did. Well, he had the right tone for the third film. It's just somebody else got their hands in there.
There's parts of the third film that are great. Yeah.
And I was wondering if you could possibly edit out some of the other stuff, but you kind of can't for the ending.
It's
but
too much part of the plot.
That venom is in there a little too much. Anyway, get ready for this. I don't know which one you're going to think is worse, but I did buy both of these for $1, and I did watch both of these.
Amazing Spider-Man.
I did learn from both of these. I guess I'll start with this because I think you're going to say that. Wow, which one will you think is worse? Okay, I'm going to start with the one that you think is
Am I really
better.
that bad?
Yeah. Okay, I did find a copy of the second Fantastic Four movie.
I've never seen it, so I can't tell you if it's bad.
It is not a good movie, but it's also not as terrible as people make it out to be. It's not very good. This was my review of the first one. It's not really good, but there's some fun stuff in there. This one is forgettable, but not terrible.
You paid $1 for it.
I paid $1 for it. That is my. If it's $1, I'll watch just about anything that I have even a slight interest in. Now, the one I think you're going to think is worse, because I'm pretty sure you have seen this one. And I know this is not a good movie. I remember it not being a good movie, but there was something I wanted to revisit. And that is the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes. Terrible script, but the makeup and costumes are great. And I really wanted to see them again. And it is so believable because they went through the trouble of doing the actual costumes, not like CG. There are a couple of times where they CG the mouths and things or have them jumping around. But the costumes are just really fun to look at and watch them move around in.
Does your wife just look at your DVD collection and say, "What's wrong with you? Like, why do you?"
She has no interest in what I buy.
I've actually never seen Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes.
Really?
I don't think so. And if I have, I don't remember a damn thing of it.
It's got a terrible script that doesn't make any sense. And it's got a terrible lead, Mark Wahlberg, who I'm guessing had to be a studio requirement. They said, put this guy in there. There's going to be a vehicle for him, because I can't imagine Tim Burton finding an interesting performance from Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah,
the way he chose Michael Keaton to be Batman is like, that there's something there. There's something in the eyes and the way he would play it. Or the way he's in love with Johnny Depp and puts him in the movie.
Basically, if Tim Burton wants to make his wacky movies that he wants to make, he's got to do the Hollywood stuff as well.
Yeah.
I just remember the controversy with Kevin Smith, because apparently Kevin Smith, in one of his comic books, had the Abraham Lincoln statue look like an ape, right? Like it was like an ape, and they said Tim Burton took that idea and put it in his movie. That's all I know about that movie. No. I'm pretty sure I've never watched it.
Good makeup. That's what you get out of it. And I got this because it has the extra disc with a bunch of stuff, and I want to see the if they go through the process of putting them in the makeup and putting on the costumes and all that.
Before we wrap this up, I want to ask you, do you have any interest in watching that Zack Snyder Justice League?
I have a curiosity. I told myself, hey, when that comes out, if I can watch that, I'm going to watch it. I kind of want to do a comparison, because how often does that happen, that a movie gets made twice with two different directors,
You got the Superman too.
It's only Superman movies. You know, Superman 2 got the thing,
That's
and
right,
then now
Justice
Justice League. That's it. What a weird thing. And then I saw it came out, and YouTube became the Justice League channel for a couple of days. Like the only things you're seeing, my review, scene comparison, which is better. I was like, oh my goodness, this thing is taking over. And then I saw the runtime.
Okay,
it's 4 hours.
Listen, I watched Red Letter Media, their thing on Justice League. They started talking about it, and Mike comes on and it's like, yeah, we watched all 4 hours of Justice League, and I'm like, that's a funny joke, 4 hours. And then they're showing like clips of the movie, and that it's all in 4:3. And I'm like, man, they must have not been able to get the widescreen version of that. And they're saying, the movie isn't that bad. It's okay. Like the last part is not that great, but I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should stop this and actually watch the movie. So I stopped it, and I only have access to it's Crave here in Canada that has it. And I only have access to it at work. So I turn it on at work, and I press play, and it actually is 4 hours, and it's in 4:3. This movie has been edited to fit the vision of the director. I'm like, what? This is what we did in the 90s already. We put that thing at the top because, we wanted everyone to switch to widescreen because the widescreen. Now we're going back to 4:3. What the hell is going on? So that was it. I was like, I don't know about that.
He did that because he wants a clear distinction between his movie and the others. And did you hear the garbage reason he put out for that?
Something about IMAX, right?
IMAX, that was part of it, I think. But what I remember him saying is, well, superheroes are very tall, and we see them in a vertical way, except for when they're flying. This is a real statement. Like, because they're tall people. That's the better aspect ratio for seeing superheroes.
No, we're not doing this. I'm not going back to 4:3. I spent the first 20 years of my life you telling me that I need to see everything on widescreen because the eyes on my face are beside each other. And I have peripheral vision. So I need everything on widescreen. I'm like, okay, I'm buying into this. You made the movies back in the day in widescreen. I want a widescreen TV and watch all my movies in widescreen. Now, no, we're going back to 4:3. I don't think so. That's not happening. And I'm not watching your 4-hour movie. Forget it. 4 hours is way too long. Now, I do see that they have it broken up into parts. Like apparently, like
because is there an intermission?
I've had to put in clips of this movie, and everybody's watching it at work. Like all the other guys are watching it at work, and we all use this one Apple box to take in stuff. So every time I start it to put in clips for work, it starts at one of these parts, like part 4. It said part 4 or something like that. So I guess they have broken it up into parts, but I 4 hours is just too crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. The curiosity is there, but I'm fighting with that of like, do I really want to spend 4 hours to watch something that I'm just gonna go, eh?
Yeah, that's pretty much the impression I'm getting. So.
I kind of like the Joss Whedon one. I thought it was really silly and stupid and just hey.
I don't know, but that guy, I love Firefly. Firefly I thought was great. His
is that a Joss Whedon thing?
That's his show that lasted 14 episodes, and it got canned because I don't know, there's several reasons. It's actually a good show, but they put it on at weird times, and they aired the episodes out of order when it was like one of those shows that you need to kind of follow along with the overall arcing story. So they kind of ruined the show, but so it only lasted 14 episodes. But that was good. It was good. But everything else he's done, like Buffy and I don't know what else.
You don't like his Avengers movies?
I mean, I don't know how much he actually did those movies. He added a lot of some dialogue in that, but I don't know how much he's actually. I don't give him too much credit for those.
I've noticed this with the Marvel people is that it's always like, hey, the Marvel movies are great. Oh, the Avengers coming out. We got to see the Avengers. See that? It was great. oh, another new Avengers coming out. It's great. And then after a few more come out, oh, well, we really don't like the Joss Whedon stuff. It's like,
well, because there's other stuff that overcompensates for it. Like you're into the overall story in that. So you kind of just tolerate like his kind of stupid jokes, and they kind of like the actors kind of they make it work. I mean, they do okay, but I don't know how much he deserves credit for that. There's a lot of cooks in that kitchen, and he's just one of them. So I remember when epic films were normally 4 hours. It's not a bad thing. Yes, for an epic film, that's actually worth it for you to watch. Absolutely. The Godfather, to me, The Godfather is worth it. It's like Godfather 2 is worth it because the characters are good and the story's good, and I'm interested in it. For superheroes that are just going to be saving the world again, I don't know. I haven't watched the movie, so I guess I can't say, but I mean...
It could be your favorite film of the year.
I've watched other superhero movies, and even them clocking in at, what is it, like 2.5 hours? Some of them, it's a little long. Those are a little long, and I can't imagine this one, the 4 hours just flying by. Duke says, I'm curious too, but I've never seen the other one. I haven't seen it either. I haven't seen the Joss Whedon one either. I tried to watch it, but couldn't get past the first half hour. Firefly is great. Yeah, I don't I watched the other
get
one.
Past a half an hour. I don't know how you're gonna make it 4.
Well, apparently they changed a lot of it. I don't know.
Well, it's got to be if where did the other 2 hours come from? Is that all other footage that went unused?
So apparently, and this I got all from the first 15 minutes of Red Letter Media. So apparently Zack Snyder originally wanted to make 2 films. He wanted a part 1 and a part 2.
Mm-hmm.
And when he left, the studio came in and said, no, we're just going to make this one. We're going to make this one movie. So they had to make a bunch of sacrifices and all that. So he had stuff shot. He had stuff ready to go that they just didn't use. They just got rid of it. So that's why this movie is so long. That's why it's 4 hours. It's originally was supposed to be 2 movies. And they completely changed a lot of it. It wasn't just dialogue that apparently Joss Whedon changed.
There's characters that were completely cut out or looked different and all that.
And then they say, like, if you actually compare, like, if you watch the original one and then watch Zack Snyder's one, like, all the stuff that Joss Whedon changed, like, it actually made no sense. Like, they actually reshot a bunch of scenes in that just so the character can throw in, like, a joke that he wrote. So, bring all the actors back, get them all to, do the shot for shot, get them ready and all that, just to add in, like, one dumb joke.
I don't know. I haven't watched any of the comments on it or reasonings behind it or anything other than the 4x3.
That is insane. I don't care what the dumb reason is for it. That's just insane. But we're not going back to 4x3. I don't care what anyone says. It's nuts.
How much it mirrors the Avengers. So
only
did you actually watch it?
I saw him on Xbox. He was in this Crave app. He gave me a notification that he was in his Crave app. So that's the only thing I can imagine him watching over there. So he must have watched the whole thing. But Bill's got a lot of time, right? He's got 4 hours to kick back and watch a movie like that. So there you go. I think we said it all.
I want to see 4 hours of miserable superheroes.
This is what I mean.
Yeah.
This is what I mean.
I watched Spider-Man the other day.
That's a
and it
fun
was
movie.
Great. It was so much fun.
It's fun.
And he's trying to take care of Aunt May, and he feels bad about Uncle Ben. He had all the emotion there, and he's still saving the day.
Right. Where he's got dark and moody Batman. Like I watched the Batman and Superman versus Batman. Didn't like that one. I watched the Superman movie before that. I fast forward through most of it. I didn't like that one. I watched a bit of the one with Margot Robbie. What's that? The seven bad guys? Suicide Squad? Suicide Bombs?
I haven't seen that.
I watched a bit of that. I fast forward through most of that one too. I got the Batman. I rolled that down. Like, okay.
Hey, but you like Shazam?
I did like Shazam. Shazam was good. Is
Are they
Shazam in
making
it?
another Shazam?
If Shazam is in this movie, I will watch it.
I can't imagine. They went silly with Shazam.
Give me, if he's only in it for 5 minutes, I'll sit there for 3 hours and 55 minutes. Just give me 5 minutes of Shazam.
Maybe he's in the post-credit scene. Like, hey, why didn't you call me?
Bill did watch it. He loves epics. We're not calling this movie an epic. There's absolutely no way that a comic book movie is an epic. It's not an epic. You need an epic story to make an epic. If you want it, and I don't think Justice League is an epic story. I might be wrong.
I think I've mentioned this before, but there's a comic called Kingdom Come. It's a DC comic, and it's in the future.
Yeah, old Superman.
Old Superman, old Batman, and you know they kind of fell off their path, and things had gotten out of control, and then they come back. It's a little depressing at sometimes. It gets a little biblical, but at the same time, it's all about them putting the suits back on and being heroes again.
Yeah,
it's a good comic. It's a nice epic.
Yeah. So why are you saying they should make that into a movie?
I'm saying I like the comic book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and sometimes when I like a comic book, I like it for just to stay a comic book or a novel. I can enjoy it. Not everything needs to be a movie.
Not everything needs to be adapted. 100%. 100%. But, you know, they're just making these movies because Marvel's making a ton of money, and they're like, well, what are we going to do? We're DC. We need to make money as well. So, monkey see, monkey do. And that's the problem. You know, like the Avengers, they pulled off a great thing. Like, I mean, Marvel pulled off a really great thing, getting all that stuff together and that. And DC's just trying to like, well, let's do our thing too. And, you know, they're not taking the time to set everything up. And every time they do try to start it, tanks and then, oh, we'll reboot and we'll do this guy and we'll do that guy. And
Did you see the Aquaman movie? There's an Aquaman movie.
I watched 5 minutes of the Aquaman movie. And that's as far as I made it.
Wow, 5 minutes. What did they screw up in the first 5 minutes?
It's just terrible dialogue. It was like the same thing I've seen a billion times before. You know, not interested in this.
You saw Wonder Woman.
Yes. Well, I watched Wonder Woman in the theater, so there was no escaping. But I thought Wonder Woman was okay, but it wasn't great.
It's got a good scene where she's like, blocking the bullets.
That's Linda Carter in the original TV show.
Right.
TV show was a hoot.
Every so often, somebody will put some Linda Carter GIF on Twitter or something. And I sit there and I watch that. I was like, man, that looks like fun.
It was a hoot. That show was a hoot, man. It was good times. All right, that's it. We're done. Enough comic book movies. Follow.
So tune in next time for our Zack Snyder review, so we can ape off everybody else.
If you're gonna watch it, I'll watch it. We could do our own Red Letter Media.
You said you don't want to watch.
I don't want to, but if you watch it, if you say you're gonna watch it,
that's the problem with our society. Is all these people watching movies they don't want to, just so they can review it in a public forum. So here's my opinion.
No, I wouldn't mind talking to you about it. If we're going to do a movie together, I wouldn't mind. Actually, and speaking of that, Curtis wants us to do those Tremors movies. The most recent one, right? Right, yeah.
Which is only in Dynamite one.
Maybe we should do that because it's only 90 minutes. It's not 4 hours. Do you have access to that movie?
I would have to check. The last time one came out, I was able to find it. Yeah. But I haven't been to the Blockbuster video in a while. You gotta go check out.
You don't have still have a Blockbuster.
Store. There's no Blockbuster, but that rental service is a thriving business here. You go out and it's like, hey, look at all the new releases. Pull the cases off, bring them up to the counter.
On DVD
and Blu-ray now.
Wow, that's awesome. Oh. Still happening in Japan.
It's kind of fun going there and just seeing the selection of movies. You see the whole wall. It's like, hey, look, there's something from 20 years ago. There's something that came out 2 days ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I do kind of miss that, but streaming.
You could just click a button. on your computer.
Yeah, it's so convenient. There is a Blockbuster documentary on Netflix now.
On Netflix?
Yeah. Please watch it.
I thought all Netflix stuff was all over the place. Yeah.
Which one do you want us to watch? What do you want us to watch, Duke? You got to tell me which movie. So many movies are going. Okay. Follow Retro Fandango on Twitter at Retro Fandango and check out our Discord as well. We are still the podcast that is better consistent than STC Pod. That's what we're going with.
That's our podcast
that is more consistent than STC Pod. When was the last time you saw STC Pod do an episode? It's been a long time.
They
did one episode in February.
What's the name of that Blockbuster documentary? Is it just called Blockbuster?
No, it's like The Last Blockbuster or something like that, I think.
And it's made by Netflix, or it's just on
I think Netflix? So. Yeah, The Last Blockbuster. I hear it's okay. I hear it's not. Yeah, it's on Netflix now.
It's on Netflix, but it wasn't produced by Netflix.
I don't know who produced it.
Okay, that's why it's not showing up.
It has a budget of $50,000.
Whoa!
Woo! That's a big budget. It was made by some. It's not.
Yeah, it's not. It's not on my.
And you'll want to go over to Discord to check out Kyle's comments, because he's got some movies over there. He's got some codes for some movies that he's giving away. So go over there and check that out. And by the way, I keep forgetting to tell Kyle. I don't know if he'll listen to this, but I keep forgetting to tell him that Bill and Ted's movie that he gave me didn't work. It didn't work.
Oh,
not in my region, because I'm a Canadian. We have to have our own Bill and Ted codes here. It's weird how it knows. How does it know? How does it know? It tells me to go to the website. I go to the website. It's like, punch in this code. I punch in the code. It's like, no, not in your region. Like, I didn't tell you what region I'm in. How do you know? How does it know? All right. The last Tremors movie does not have Jamie Kennedy in it. It has
John Heater.
Napoleon Dynamite.
Yep.
Jamie Kennedy. They couldn't get Jamie Kennedy. That's how low the Tremors movies have come. It's like we can't even get Jamie Kennedy now. Please watch the new Schneider cut.
Schneider.
Well, there you go. Duke's got a request in that we both watch it. Do you have access to that movie?
I think. Let me check. I think so. Hang on.
The Dukes of Hazzard cut, not the John Schneider cut. That would be something else. And if you guys are a fan of Dukes of Hazzard, you guys should watch John Schneider's YouTube channel. That's something else. If you want the conservative point of view, check out that channel. Whew. He does not hold back. Sometimes he does, but not often. All right, I think we're done.
Wow,
right?
Look at him go. Yep.
All right. Are you? What? You checking out John?
3 days ago.
Oh, there you go. You can watch it on there. Okay.
Yeah.
I suppose I can watch it on there too, so then I don't have to watch it at work. And my dinner is ready, apparently, so I gotta go.
Ooh, dinner. Best thing we've talked about.
That is. We did talk about washing dishes. That was fun.
Yeah, we're going to change this into a food discussion podcast. So what did you eat today?
Thank you, Sarah, for chiming in, and Duke, and Bill, and Ryan. That was it. That was enough. It's enough people tuning in. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.